Welcome to what was actually the very first Gran Turismo 6 Quick Match event. And this is also the final Gran Turismo 6 Quick Match event. And this is actually the only race I'm going to do with this because I'm just going to say this. Let's go out on a good note. I'm not even going to mention that, folks. I'm just going to say Tier 1 and Tier 2. Stuttered starts makes it to where there's less chaos. And leave it at that. That's good explanation, right? Yeah. But anyway, I am in third out of 6. So it's not the smallest field in the world. It's not the biggest field in the world. It was a relatively spread out field, but actually everybody's sort of kind of closing in on everybody already for the most part. The leader might be gone, though. But actually, good race for third. Good race for second, though. Getting there. I have to drive, so it should be a good race for second in a minute here. And honestly, the reason that I'm only doing one of these is because, like, nostalgia or whatever. I've done this race Specialtatin in the past, obviously not for these events, but trust me, there's a good reason for it. Stay tuned to find out why. I prefer to end in a Ram, but PD ain't allowing that, so we got this. This is actually the first, so most people actually do know this combination pretty well. GT500s are probably up there for easiest driving of race cars. I guess GT300s by default are a bit easier, but for power ratio to how easy they are to drive, these might be the easiest. So everybody's racing all right, but as of now, the racing actually ain't the greatest. But the leader's actually in a different car than me. And PD gets bounce power better than they used to, as y'all saw from the previous Specialtatin and the very first events in this. HSV was just downright dominant all around. Nowadays, at least they get the GTR to where it's a bit faster than the HSV on the straights. The HSV is still the overall better car, but it's not as good as it used to be. So, well, that makes the racing better. Because realistically, even if I'm in the draft, I ain't necessarily going to gain anything. So I have to actually do something around the turns. And for how all the other races are going, it seems like going around turns are random of how it works when passing people. You'll see this race though, because now it's a pretty cop-picking good race. That's getting into the juicy bits and the final bit. So with this being the very final quick match events, and there's probably been 50 or so of these on the channel, let's see how good this one turns out to be. It's looking pretty cotton picky good right yonder. Battle between the GTR and the HSV. I literally have no ties to HSV whatsoever. I just picked it because it's the better one. I don't even know if the Honda HSV actually had a production car, but nonetheless, I'm in it. I'm making it work as good as I possibly can right yonder. I'm in the draft there. That GTR still all in all has a better straight line speed, but the draft is still somewhat OP. Not as much as it was in the very beginning, but it's just enough where I can get alongside, folks. So let's see if I can get the pass done. Here going into turn 1, and Jiminy Cricket, the car's been ghost there, but nobody got a penalty. Hallelujah, it's a miracle. And I just barely get that pass done, but now the GTR has my draft, so let's see what it can do with it. As of now, both of us are looking pretty cotton-picking poised, pretty cotton-picking confident, and just all in all pretty cotton-picking good. Making for some pretty cotton-picking best racing right yonder. It's looking like it might just very well be side-by-side going into this turn. There was a little bit of a tap there, which made me go a little bit wide there, but I ain't really counting that as dirty, because honestly, there's a slight bit of lag here, but to be honest, it's much better than a whole heck of a heap of races usually are in terms of lag, so I ain't going to complain about that one. But I'm just going to try my best to make no complaints about this racing because it's getting to the point of I want to keep it good till the very end. So I'm going to pass in a way that I hope wouldn't screw me over, which means I have to wait for a bit, but waiting for a bit actually makes for that much better racing because, well, that was actually a bump, but no penalty. Jiminy Cricket, is PD actually letting us fight it out for the final race? It's a miracle. side by side race going into the final lap of Gran Turismo 6 Quick Match Specialtatin. Could you really ask for any better? Yes, you could ask for a Ram, but PD ain't gonna give us a Ram, are they? But anyway, this is the final lap of racing. In theory, I should be able to do the same thing I was able to do last lap, but in reality, I'd say the leader probably knows I'm going to do that. So it looks like the leader is going to go for a crossover move here, but if the leader does that, the leader will be on the outside. So realistically, I will probably end up being the leader, but after this turn, I will be on the outside. So I'm just going to kind of let the leader stay in the lead there, honestly. I know I can get some draft. I know my car's better in the straights. So I'm going to make for a dramatic finish. I may as well. I actually knew in general by this point this was going to be the last race I was going to special tape because it was just so good to this point. I knew if it ended as it went throughout the race, this was going to be it at this point. So, well, the leader's actually cracking under pressure. Applying and avoiding pressure works pretty picking good right yonder. It looks like I might be able to dive into the inside there, but Jiminy Cricket, our cars are inside each other, and nobody got a penalty again. Hallelujah. This race is going about as good as you could possibly ask for not having a Ram. And it is looking like it's going to come down to the final straightaway of the race. I don't necessarily have the advantage on the straightaway, but I do have the draft. And I do, sort of, kind of, have a way to get it to where I can get close. I think we both know that way, though, but I took a wider line out of there, no doubt about it. And that's going to come down to the drafting battle. I don't know if that GTR quite has enough there, but I ain't really going to risk it either. I'm just going to stay where I am and hope that he doesn't. And he didn't. Jiminy Cricket. I'm going to go back there because I think y'all probably saw something there that when it happened about made me lose some stuff. I ain't gonna say what stuff, but y'all can make your own assumption on that. That's about as good and as close of a way to end as possible. I mean, that race didn't end bumper to bumper or anything, but there was a point in that race where I think I might have saw my racing career flash before my eyes. That was as good of a way to end as PD made, really. I knew I was gonna have to do a sort of kind of a up and under type thing. I get up on that banking and just kind of run into it there and hope that it's enough where I can get clear. But even just getting into it, I was not exactly very clear. That was 1 inch away from downright a wreck, but it wasn't. Every inch counts. I was thinking I was going to be just barely clear at this point, but realistically I was pretty clear. But the point that I didn't think I was going to need to worry was a lot of worry, as it turns out. But I didn't know it, so I wasn't actually worrying at that point. So I went as I always do, aggressively, but not downright trying to be in a wreck. It was almost a wreck, but it wasn't. So that was pretty much a perfectly timed move, albeit accidentally, but it was, to win the final Gran Turismo 6 Quick Match Specialtatin. Rather it be a Ram. I ain't gonna say there ain't gonna be more Ram videos in the future, but I guess it won't be Specialtatin because honestly I've already done all of them involving a Ram. Or Quick Match Specialtatin. So I hope y'all enjoyed this Quick Match. I hope y'all enjoyed all of them throughout. Hope y'all enjoyed all the seasonal events throughout. There will be more GT6 videos, but it ain't gonna be like a general race type thing. It's been fun through the years. Who knows if there's going to be more years of something like this in the future. But nonetheless, we always have the memories. We always have the videos, too, that y'all can go back to. Wink, wink. And, honestly, I still have the experiences as well. All of this chaos through the years has honestly made me a whole heck of a heap of a better racer, I do believe. Y'all may have seen other videos where I've documented how I've changed throughout, but I feel like just these races in general have sold it. For those of y'all who watched Specialtatin of the first Quick Match events, not necessarily my first Specialtatin of them, because I started when those weren't new. I started pretty far in. But when I actually Specialtated when it was my first race, compared to a race like this, there's honestly a whole heck of a heap of differences. And quick matches are random. penalty system ain't the best. But honestly, at this point, I feel like they've served me better than even the GT Sport Daily races to an extent. Because even in GT Sport Daily races, which are supposed to match you up with people pretty competent close to you, I've had my fair share of runaway races in those too. Which I have in the quick matches as well. I don't specialtate them, so the ratio looks kind of off. But trust me, I have. But quick matches, in a way, having them random makes it that much better. Because every race can be something completely different. And a lot of the times it is. There ain't a system like this yet in GT Sport. But let's hope something comes out eventually. Because this system has its flaws. The GT Sport Daily Races has a whole heck of a heap of flaws as well. And this in its own way is pretty cotton picking fun, and it's kind of sad that I ain't coming back. Seasonal events are one thing because it just races against the AI. GT Sport does sort of kind of have that in the sense of the campaign mode. But there's nothing like this, and it would be nice if there is at some point. This has been fun. There's been some ups and downs. The races I've shown are generally ups in terms of entertainment, not necessarily ups in terms of where I finish, but they've all been up in terms of entertainment. And to have this many good races for this many years, I'd say I've at least been doing quick match Specialtatin for about 1.5 years now. And in terms of actual races, probably about 3 years of them. That's honestly incredible. Let's hope we get something like this in the future. But for now, well, I can't even really say enjoy it for now because it's over. But even though it's over, it ain't really worth being sad or nostalgic about because we might get something like this in the future. There's no way to know until it happens, but don't rule anything out. There's been craziness on track that's happened that I really didn't expect. So why can't it happen behind the scenes too, eh? If these races can be as crazy as they are, maybe some crazy stuff can happen in terms of what we get in the future as well. And that definitely has been, definitely is now, and from what I can tell will be worth in the future. Yeehaw!